Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is more Doom Eternal. This is the third mission of the Ancient Gods Part 2, and it is known as Immora. So this is my Nightmare All Escalations walkthrough, and if you've been following in this video series, you'll know that I'm playing on the PC, you'll know that I'm playing at 239 FPS, and that I'm constantly having problems with my bindings because I'm trying to figure out the best way to be the ultimate Doomslayer, and I'm having mixed and varying levels of success. But as we push forward up this cliffside here with this wonderful skybox of all kinds of Avengers Assemble things going on in the background, we're going to be taking on some gargoyles and random soldiers and tentacles as well, which is always interesting. Get a little bit too carried away and before you know it, tentacle to the face dealing damage. This level front ends the escalation, which I really enjoy. This is one of my favourite fights in the DLC, this one. It's just a really fun environment, and it enables a player who's mobile to really do some damage. And the jump pads and the various avenues are going to be the keys to success. And I do apologise about some of the capturing errors that go on here. My PC does encoder overload quite a lot when I'm capturing Doom Eternal, because it's a pretty crazy game. But luckily it doesn't do it on any of the moments that are too important, so at the start here we're taking on some... is he called a Dread Knight, that guy? He's the upgrade to the Hell Knight, right? He's very dangerous. One of the most dangerous enemies in the game that you can kill immediately, but if you don't, he can cause havoc. But the idea here is I use the Destroyer Blade on a Whiplash, but it doesn't kill her because I didn't charge it enough. And there's a Doom Hunter turning up, Ice Bomb into Blood Punch, into Hammer, into all kinds of different tools, get some armor off him, do some weapon swapping, be mobile, get our shit back. I'm in danger right here. Go for a random chainsaw, but you need more fuel to take down those makers, so a little bit of an overextension there. We'll get some hope back here, hopefully. We need to stay away from him, he's a big trouble. Get the chainsaw on the imp, get the armor back, get the HP. There's a piece of HP to my right there, but I'm not interested in it because too busy doing the Doom dance badly. Couple of whiplashes down here, the grenade goes through, rocket into their midst, nearly kill myself with my own rockets, which is a staple of my playstyle. And then just be careful up here, these are environmental hazards. Hugo Martin has a thing for adding environmental hazards into a lot of the fights to try and add, I say complexity, or some kind of impetus on making the player move around, and I get the idea of it and I like the idea, but I don't always agree with it personally. Sometimes it can elevate things, other times it can just be needless. I guess it's for other people maybe. But just be really careful on this fight because it escalates quite quickly, and I keep going for chainsaw on fodder that is not the correct amount of fodder, so definitely take a shot if you're playing the official drinking game. And I can't get my life back to save my ass right now. I'm not having a very good time. There's a whiplash. She's getting close. I've got no armor right here. Get a little bit of armor off her, thankfully, using the flame there from the meat hook. And we've got this guy that's moving at the speed of light, being an absolute nightmare. But we put him down, quick execution, slice him up, and then we can continue onwards. So carcasses are spawning in right now. Want to get rid of those if we can. We've got our first Baron of Hell turning up. Set him on fire, hit him with some rockets. We've got a second Baron, and then the Cacodemons are turning up too. I'm on fire, but what's new? Pushing back towards the other side of this arena, we've got some fodder there that gives me a quick armor refill with some ammunition, and I jump into a Cacodemon like an absolute fruit, and it doesn't work out too well for me, so we're back on the back foot. Put a shell on him, get the glory, go in for the kill. Salvage some of the HP that I've lost in these questionable choices. Come back through here, not using my Ice Bomb, which I should be using right now. Charge the Destroyer Blade in mid-air, but the accuracy of the enemies in this game is incredible. It doesn't matter how fast you're moving as well, there's times when they just do not miss. So, the one weakness of the Baron, if you've not played the game a decent amount, is that he has a lot of trouble putting pressure on you if you change your altitude. So, if there's any verticality in a map, it is the weakness of the Baron, because the Baron has to mantle down to get to you. However, if you're on an equal playing field with him, he'll be very aggressive and very fast. So you want to put as many layers between you and him as you can. The higher you are, the better. The lower you are, the better. Constantly shifting the vantage point is what's going to make him more vulnerable. The scariest barons are always the barons that are just on flat ground, because you can't really do much to get away from them outside of freezing them and meat-hooking around. And if you're good enough to know about those techniques and use those techniques effectively, you've probably already killed the baron and he's not a problem. But if you're just style swapping and flying around and playing, just playing without thinking mindlessly, you'll put yourself into some really bad situations with them. And fortunately, in this DLC, you've got the hammer, and the hammer is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-for-free kind of tool. And I do like it, as much as I understand why people think it's kind of cheesy and it needs to be nerfed. And I don't think that those people are wrong. I think they have a really, really good point. This baron here is definitely taking some damage on at the moment as we swap between some weapons and hit him as hard as we can. Could have done some precision bolt swaps in there to swap a little faster to deal even more damage, as we get another dude turning up here, a standard baron with an armoured baron. And we've got gargoyles, so be very careful when gargoyles are the fodder guys. These are the dudes that will cause you way more deaths. I've died more to gargoyles than I have barons, because it's just that enemy that is meant to be there to help you, but every so often they decide to try out for the team. They want to steal focus and they want to be on the A team, and like just then, he cock-blocked where I was going and whacked me before I killed him. The gargoyles are the true MVPs, the unsung heroes of the Doom army. That was an interesting one right there, not detonating his bomb, but that was my fault. But keep on moving. I'm trying to get my money's worth of the Destroyer Blade, but I'm not getting chased by the barons for once. There's a Prowler, so I'm going to probably try and shoot it on him. And I ended up letting go of the aim before fire then, so I lost all the charge. But it's not the end of the world, because it did save the ammunition. But we got Prowlers, we've got the Maker drones. Nice little execution on him. We've got a gargoyle over there doing his best to try and take me out, but we precision bolt him. And it's definitely kicking off. Here is the armoured baron. There's another gargoyle. Here comes the baron with his telegraph. There's the grenades. There's some precision swaps. He's already dead, and we've got a cacodemon above us there. One of the cool things about this game that I haven't really talked about, because there's no need to as the Marauder turns up, is that almost every enemy has some kind of hard counter to them, something that you want to be trying to do if you're new to the game, and then when you're a bit more experienced you can work it in if you want to, but you don't have to, because there's so many options for you to deal with them how you want to. And that noise just then, the noise of the wolf howling, is the wolf spawning, and it means that the Marauder's shield has been shot. You do not shoot Marauders, guys, unless they are stunned. That right there, what I just did, was the one cycle on the Marauder. If you stun him with the shotgun and then use the hammer, it gives you an eternity to do what you want with him, and you can just weapon cancel into complete desolation. So that's one of the reasons why Marauders aren't that important anymore when it comes to threat units when you have the hammer, because you can completely turn them off. Does that mean that they still won't get you and they aren't difficult? Absolutely not. You saw those encounters in the previous video where I took Marauders on and I didn't use the hammer because I was being a clown. It just goes to show, guys, if you give these enemies an inch, they will take it, and then they will rip your spine out. So give them nothing. Give them nothing but swift death. And we've got Tyrants turning up. And this is where this fight gets really interesting, because... Hang on a second, is that another Marauder? I think I killed him. Did I not kill him? Maybe I didn't kill him. But it gives me an opportunity to talk about him a bit more often. The Marauder is an enemy that is designed to mirror your ability level. They're an enemy that are constantly aggressive, they've got lots of attacks, they've got all kinds of different AIs going on, and fundamentally, the one rule of Marauders is unless you know what you're doing, do not shoot them. The only time you want to shoot the Marauder is when his eyes glow, and then after that you get a brief window to deal damage to him. There are other ways to deal damage. You can do interesting things with grenade setups and detonating rockets and things like that. You can even do fancy things with the BFG if you know what you're doing, but fundamentally, you want to be very careful with this creature, because if you shoot at him, he is programmed to defend. And when he defends, he puts his shield up, and if you shoot that shield, it spawns that wolf. And the wolf can be shot, and it dies very quickly, but a lot of the people complaining at the beginning of Doom Eternal didn't understand that you shouldn't just shoot this guy mindlessly. Do you notice I never shoot him? I only shoot him when I know I can kill him. And I made a mistake here by swapping to the wrong button, so I'm just doing all kinds of goofy swaps, but I still kill him, so it's okay. The Marauder is one of the most elegant designs in Doom Eternal, and everybody who complains about him doesn't fundamentally understand the game. And I hate to be that guy to tell you that if you're one of the people that think he's badly designed, it's just you. But it's true. the better you get at Doom Eternal, the more you will enjoy the Marauder, because he presents a threat and he presents a presence on the battlefield that no other unit can do. No one fights like him. And the sad part about the Marauder is the boss of this DLC is essentially a Marauder, but they made it boring. Fighting those Marauders then was exciting, because they add a dynamic to this arena that just doesn't exist when he's not there. He turns up, you have to respect him, he chases you down, there's so many enemies around you, it can put you in a really bad place. That's what makes him exciting, that's what makes him so much fun. The final boss is not that. The final boss is just fodder and a really strange pattern that has no skill, no fun, and no creativity, and there's part of me that doesn't even want to commentate that video, but instead what I want to do is I'm going to talk about what I thought it was going to be. Because I think one of the reasons why I'm so disappointed by the Dark Lord is more so my expectations than the reality of what that fight is. But we're not there yet, and I don't want to bum myself out, because I would be lying if I told you that it didn't upset me. And I don't want to be offensive to the team. I love this game. I think everybody at id that worked on this, you are pretty much designing games for people who have a very similar mindset to myself, and these games don't come out that often, and I'm just I'm privileged and so happy that I can say that in 2020 and 2021 there was a video game that came out with such a high production value that put a main emphasis on gameplay and on me overcoming adversity rather than giving me complete reign to decimate a game without earning it. And to me that is it's gaming perfection, and I truly do think that this game is... I can't think of a more important game right now to me, and it's took a while for me to share these thoughts, to share these sentiments and share these videos, but I love Doom Eternal, and it's such a fun thing to escape my mouth, because I thought I was going to dislike it, and I was really scared of that. And this fight here with the Mancubuses on the ledges, I think this is a really cool encounter, this one, as we work in some precision bolts into some weak point smashing. And you'll notice those golden gloves that are knocking around. Those are a pickup that give you a blood punch. And the blood punch, for people that don't know, is just a very powerful AoE melee attack that you can use, and it is particularly good at damaging fodder and taking away certain weak points on certain enemies. And speaking about weak points in certain enemies, we have more stone imps, and this fight here is notorious for being buggy. The first time I did this DLC, none of the Arachnotrons or the Pain Elementals even spawned here. It was just a single succession of fodder enemies and stone imps. So it was really, really wonky. And it sucks too, because this is kind of a cool fight, getting attacked by stone imps while Pain Elementals turn up. And I'm not a big Doom guy. Once again, this is more things that you're going to learn in the longer projects, but I played Doom 1 on the SNES, which is absolutely sacrilegious, but it's true. So to me, I've always been a fan of Doom, I've always liked it, I've always thought it was cool, but I'm not what you would call a Doom guy at all. It's just not who I am. I respect it, I love it, but it's not a game that is you know, I talk a lot on my videos about games that have built my childhood, very fond games, and I loved Doom. It was fun, it was cool, but it wasn't the thing that took over my life, you know. So I didn't even know what a Pain Elemental was. I'd never even heard of them, and I know that's terrible, but it's true. So when I heard about Pain Elementals in the context of Doom Eternal, I respected the hell out of them. I thought there were these really dangerous enemies that just absolutely kick your ass. These leveled up versions of Cacodemons that are super dangerous if you don't focus them down and kill them. And since I've put more time in the game as we take on a possessed Hell Knight here, really, really fun fight, this one, I realised that I don't think Pain Elementals are that dangerous unless you get really unlucky. Like, fundamentally, I've never died to a Pain Elemental, and every time I've fought them, I've enjoyed it. I've killed them, they've been like a Cacodemon, really, like a more dangerous Cacodemon, and I've just kind of dealt with them, so I was respecting Pain Elementals way too much, and I didn't need to. And I think that that's a really, really important thing to know when it comes to playing a game that you don't have the same experience that other people do. Same with the Archvile. I heard about the Archvile before I even saw it, so I knew whatever this thing is, this Archvile thing, whenever it turns up, I need to get rid of it. And of course now I've put more time into Doom Eternal, I know exactly what an Archvile is, and I know exactly why he's dangerous, and I know why people are afraid of him. Because if you don't focus on the Archvile, bad things happen. You know, it's like the buff totems, it's like a lot of things. There's actually a new enemy coming up in a moment here, which is... I forget the name of them, I think they're infernal troops. And they're this weird homage to the original multiplayer sprites, I think. Here they are, these guys here. They're a fodder enemy that shoot you, that are really weak, but you can't glory kill or chainsaw them. And I don't understand it, because they die, get this, they die from being meat hooked. For some reason. So I think that this DLC has got some cool things in it, and I think it's got some things that make me kind of go, I don't get it. These soldiers are one of those moments. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Stone Imp, but I get it. I'm not a big fan of the Cursed Prowler, but I get it. Those guys, I do not get at all. And if you guys know anything more about them, I'd love to hear it, because the Screechers, I get. I like the Screechers, they're dangerous. This is a dangerous fight. This is double Marauders, ladies and gentlemen. Double Marauders, and if you use the hammer in a wrong area, you're going to buff them. And I just did exactly that. So now I have 2 buffed Marauders, and I'm going to pay the price, so be real careful here. There's an interesting part of this arena that helps. There are monkey bars in the middle, but the problem with the monkey bars is if you hit them at a certain angle, it kind of flips you up into geometry, and it affects your curvature of your monkey bar, and I don't like that. I think the middle of this area could have been designed a little bit better, so that you don't have that happen if you do it from an awkward angle. And I like using monkey bars. I think it's one of the best parts of the game. I wish there was a little bit more of it, personally. But if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, Screechers are an enemy that are ambient. They'll whack you, though. It whacks me in a moment, I think. And if you attack them, they scream, and it buffs all nearby enemies, and it's dangerous as hell, because it turns them super aggressive, and they're all coming for you. But the idea of this fight is to divide and conquer. You can stun both Marauders at the same time. I did it on this fight, on one of the other runs I've had. And if you don't like Marauders and you don't want to do this, guys, the best thing to do is to bait both of them into green eyes, hit them both with the super shotgun, and then shoot the BFG. If you do that, you'll kill both Marauders instantly and you don't have to fight them. I didn't want to do that for obvious reasons, because I felt like if I did that, it would kind of take away from what I'm trying to do with these videos. I want to show you Doom, and I want to show you what Doom is all about, in my opinion, and that is using the tools and overcoming the environments without pulling out the power-ups and all the crazy powerful tools. Not that you shouldn't do that. If you want to use power-ups, you use power-ups. If you want to use BFG, you should use BFG. And when you kill one of the Marauders, they do spawn a Baron. But at this point, one Baron is not going to do much when you have such a good arena like this. And again, guys, if you're looking at that power-up just over there and thinking, why is he not grabbing it? It's not that I didn't see it. It's not that I don't know it exists. I'm avoiding it intentionally. And I recommend you do the same as well, because you'll become a lot better if you don't need to use these tools that the developers have put in there should you have a hard time. But once you kill the enemies, the Screechers will suicide, and then you can continue with the game. And I like this level a lot. I didn't have a lot of fun on the Halt in the first DLC because there were a couple of environments that really pissed me off. But playing through this one, I pretty much like every fight in this level. And it's definitely a feather in the cap of the second DLC, because there's a lot of people that think this DLC is really bad. And I don't really get that. Unless you're talking about the Dark Lord. I think the Dark Lord is it's the most disappointing thing since Terminator 3. And that's really saying something, because I didn't even know they'd made a Terminator 3. They've made a Terminator 3? Who said that? Are they lying? Are they making that up? I think that's fake news. But be very careful of this enemy, guys. He doesn't look like much, but this dude here with his bloody sneakers on, his slidey skates, cruising around trying to murk me. And also be careful of the little jobbers. But this part of the game reminds me of Halo. I don't know if anybody else gets... Oh my god. You might be wondering what happened there. I was trying to meat hook, but the detection just said no. And I left that in because, why not? I feel like when it comes to Doom Eternal, the less editing you do, the better, because it's all gameplay, isn't it? And I don't want to hide things, guys. I don't want to remove things and have tons of jumps and have cuts here and cuts there and cuts left, right and centre that make it look like I'm trimming things out. The cool thing about this game and this walkthrough, I don't need to. You know, think of the walkthroughs I've made recently, guys. Beautiful games, really, really cool games from the past, but so much downtime. So much time where you don't need me and I'm not playing. This game, it's all playing, and a lot of you might even need me, who knows. You might need to watch some strategies and add them to your game. But I hope you don't, because the joy of Doom Eternal, I think, is the personality, isn't it, in the playstyle. Everybody has a different playstyle, and it's such an expressive game. I don't understand this enemy. What a stupid enemy. But there's that encounter. Push forward and we can go towards the Dark Lord. Got another 10 minutes left in this level. There's a pretty unique fight coming up here, which I don't like too much. This is the one fight in this level that I think is a bit awkward. And it's just because they keep spawning these soldiers. And they're shooting you from all kinds of angles while you take on a Doom Hunter at long range, and it's just a bit goofy and awkward. So I think the best thing to do here is to just focus this guy, blood punch his sled, do as much damage as you can, hit him with the hammer if you need to. You can always get it back off the enemies that are around. There's a couple of stone imps here that you can kill. Here's me pulling out the auto shotgun, quite rare that. And then we've got this guy over here. One of the things I really like using with the auto shotgun, because if you don't know, guys, that mod slows your mobility. So if you jump with forward momentum and then you use the auto shotgun, it doesn't really slow you down that much, and you can kind of bunny hop around with it and get rid of that movement penalty, which is probably one of the intended uses. But I'm about to lose a ton of life coming up here, and I don't really know how it happened. So there's some invisible whiplashes which are really dangerous, but luckily the auto shotty just decimates them. Really, really powerful. We also have an Armoured Baron coming up. He's just here. And I missed his weak point just then. I think this is the Armoured Baron that embarrasses me. Because I slowed down some footage of one of these guys, and I was on his weak point when I shot him and it didn't give it me. I think it might be this. Yeah, that was it. If you slow that down, guys, I'm on the bomb when I press the trigger. And I don't know how I miss. I couldn't actually honestly tell you. But I slowed it down to double check, and a lot of the times what happens when you play a game, guys, because you're so close to it, because ego's involved, and because you're so hyped up, in the heat of battle you feel like you're being cheated and robbed and things are going wrong and something weird is happening, and then you come back in on the editing software and you look at it and you realise that you just messed up, you know, you made a mistake. There's a lot of instances like that I remember in guides I've made where I was so certain that I did it right and I was on target, and then I slowed it down and I just wasn't. And at the time you can kind of be like, how is this happening? You know, it can't be me. But sometimes it is. And on that one, that was one of the rare instances where when I looked at it, the frame I fire, I'm on target. The next frame, I'm off target, but, you know, the frame that bullet leaves the gun, it should be going where it was pointed at. But anyhow, this is the final arena of the game, basically. This is the final one before you take on a kind of like a gimmick fight, and then you do the Dark Lord. So this is really, really cool. And the first time I did this arena, that's a Cursed Prowler, he needs to die, kill him immediately. And there is a power-up if you need it, so bear that in mind. First time I did this arena on my blind run on Ultra Violence, I did it my first attempt and I had the best time. I was just totally feeling it, totally killing and doing the Doom dance. And then I got a scripting error where the level never ceased, so the music was playing like there was enemies present and there was no enemies and there weren't even fodder, so the game just soft-locked itself and I had to restart. And unfortunately, guys, the game does not checkpoint when an encounter is over a lot of the times, so when you restart, it's before the encounter's happened. And I had to do the whole thing again. And I suppose, you know, playing more Doom Eternal is hardly a burden because the gameplay is so satisfying and so fun. But you know, when you're on a first playthrough and you want to see the resolution and you care about the story and, you know, you're super into it and you're playing well, and then the game bugs out and you can't even get rewarded when you feel like you should do, it left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, and I've had a lot of experience with this game being buggy. And if the price of its quality is a few bugs, I pay it gladly. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I feel like because of the quality that goes into it and because of the love and the attention and the production value, I am still quite surprised how buggy Doom is. Because I played Doom 2016 And I don't remember bugs. I just don't. And that's a game I don't like, you know. If there were ever a game where I was going to talk shit on it, it'd be Doom 2016, even though I think the game is great. It's just not for me, but I don't remember having issues there. I don't remember it, like, fucking up and stuff not working. Right now, guys, we have a possessed enemy turning up. And usually, the first time I did this, it possessed the Arachnotron. But in my recording, I got a possessed Baron. And I don't need to tell you just how bad getting the Baron is here, as opposed to the Arachnotron. And I don't know if it was meant to be the Baron, and I got really lucky on my first run, but a possessed Baron, I've not seen one of these guys in a while, and they do not mess around. This is the most aggressive, most dangerous opponent in the game. There's nothing in this game that will push you like this guy. Except maybe a possessed Marauder, and I've not seen that. But very dangerous right now, and this dude is going to be all over you. So be very careful here, guys. Hit him with anything you can. You will not stun him. The only way to stun him is with the Ghostbuster laser. And when I'm doing these walkthroughs, I try my best not to use that laser too much. I think I even got the power-up then. So I'm even using the power-up on him because, you know, he's bloody possessed. The guy's beefy. The guy's big old and beefy. I don't know what that power-up is, truth be told. Which is kind of embarrassing, but it's true. But there he goes, we'll hoover up his friend. But I'm getting screwed right now because my gun's empty. Whew, that's a bad moment, isn't it? Note to self, always have plasma energy when you need to do that. This could have gone really bad. If that thing had gone into the armoured guy, I was in trouble. But I think it's gone into the Cyber Mancubus. And this is the area where I actually think the spirits really work. I love the idea of the spirit just causing havoc if you don't deal with it. But I do think that the design of them could be tweaked, because I don't like not being able to stun them. Same with the freezing. I don't mind, you know, the idea of an enemy being more resilient to freeze, but couldn't they have made it so that it freezes them, and then maybe 2 seconds after they break out because they're so beefy? Instead, it just doesn't do anything. They turn your kit off. And I feel like an enemy that turns off the game, like even the hammer, you'd think the hammer would daze them. Make it daze them for half the amount of time it dazes everything else. Like, I understand it, they're possessed, they're sick, they're really, really strong and dangerous, but really, guy? Nothing flinches them except for a laser that literally paralyzes them? I feel like there's so much more you could have done to that, and you didn't. And this environment is actually really good for a cursed, I say cursed, a possessed Cyber Mancubus, because he can't do anything too bad to you because there's too many walls. Hell, this is actually a really good environment for cursed anything. Even the cursed Baron was having problems pathfinding to me. Like, this arena's really, really great. I can't wait to see the master version. The master version of this is probably going to be diabolical. But at that point, guys, you know the... Oh, is it in the imp? It's in the imp, I think. Yeah, she got in the imp. That's hilarious. She could have got in the Baron and she didn't, and he's punching me now, but it's worth it. Get rid of that woman. And I don't know if I said this on the other video, guys, but how I would do the spirits is I would make the spirits incredibly dangerous when they possess things. Like, I would give them maybe even more buffs. I'd make them, if they're going to make them so nothing stuns them, I'd make it so that they're absolutely monstrosities, you know, they just wreck their shit out of you. But if you put the Ghostbuster laser on, and you Ghostbuster laser them, you pull the spirit out, and then the spirit's vulnerable to anything. Hell, I would have even made the spirit vulnerable to auto shotgunners, and then you wouldn't need the stone imps. Because to me, I think the difficulty should be getting her out. I don't think it should be, shit, she's out, now I need to deal with her with this stupid and nonsensical way of doing it. Like, I would love the idea of you do enough damage and it pops her out, but instead it's kill it, isn't it? Kill the creature, or she doesn't come out. Like, can you imagine if you could do a critical or some kind of counter setup that knocked the spirit out of the enemy without killing them? And you could do these really difficult but awesome counter maneuvers to get her out of it. Because as it stands, massive speed boost, massive defense boost, and unstunnable state. Like, I don't see the fun in that. To me, it just seems like Oblivion fucking difficulty scaling. We're just going to put everything on 11, and you're going to have to deal with it. I suppose it's hard, you know, I guess. It is hard. Is it cool? No, it's not cool. But here is the reward fight. I think Hugo was saying that the idea of a fight like this is to let the player have some fun. And personally, I think that the power-up should last for the full duration of the fight, and I think it would have been really fun. But this particular encounter is only fun when you have the power-up. And I think that all it really does, personally, is it outlines just how much the movement penalty on the auto shotgun mod kind of ruins the fun of the shotgun on the auto mod. And when it gives you a power-up, it gives you a glimpse into what the world would be like if your movement didn't go to dog shit. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen, that's Imora. The only thing left now is to kill the Dark Lord in probably the most underwhelming fight ever conceived in the digital medium. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.